ActionSA wants Johannesburg Mayor Kabelo Gwamanda to address allegations of fraud during his State of the City address tomorrow. The party says it will table a motion of no confidence against him if he doesn't do that. For more on this, let's speak to ActionSA's Johannesburg caucus spokesperson, Sthembelo Majola. Mr. Majola, very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. So what exactly do you feel has been left unsaid by the mayor, who's already denied any involvement in fraud? What else do you want him to say?
Well, the manner in which he should address this is to publicly speak to our residents, and that's what we want him to do tomorrow, using the opportunity of the State of the City address. These are big allegations, Thembegile, and those allegations cannot be left unaddressed. We want him to come out tomorrow and address these allegations of fraud. He's a mayor that has been marred by the allegations that he was involved in the funeral scheme allegations, where he's said to have taken money from our residents. And now that he's mayor of the city of Johannesburg, we want him to publicly address these issues so that our residents can be rest assured that the city is in good hands.
So if Kabelo Gwamanda gets up tomorrow and says in council during his State of the City that I didn't do it, these are the allegations, I'm not guilty, and simply moves on, leaves it perhaps at one or two lines, would that be enough for you?
No, of course, there's processes underway. We know that there's cases that were opened. We want to explore those cases to the fullest. We want them to be completely investigated, and we will not just take his word for whatever he says. We want him to be investigated by the police. We want him to be cleared by our law enforcement agencies, so that our residents can be rest assured that their executive mayor is not a person with a questionable financial background.
Is it not better then, sir, to leave the process to the police investigation and see what turns on that, whether ultimately at the end of it there'll be a decision to prosecute Gwamanda, because he insists through his party, Al Jama, that he's done nothing wrong. His accusers say he's a fraud. So it's his word against theirs.
Look, we think he should use tomorrow's opportunity. You would know that tomorrow is the State of the City address in the city of Johannesburg. We want him to use the opportunity to, as it's a platform that will be listened to by many residents of the city of Johannesburg. And there's allegations that the people that he may have scammed live here in the city of Johannesburg. So we want him to stand up in that podium and address this issue once and for all, and address it personally and not through a statement, and not because the other thing about Mr. Gwamanda, the communications that come from his office, nothing really assures us that this is Mr. Gwamanda speaking to our residents. It appears to be something that's written for him, and this is one of the things that we are raising in our statement. That Funzi raised in our statement, that he must be able to come out and publicly address this by himself, and not through the media releases. And
you said that if that does not happen to your satisfaction tomorrow, what you will do then, as ActionSA, is push for a motion of no confidence against Mayor Gwamanda. What would be the purpose of that? Do you even have the numbers in council to make sure that it's successful? Or are you at this stage just doing it to register your disdain?
We as ActionSA are a party that is grounded in principle, and we do not believe that a mayor running a big city like the city of Johannesburg. This is a city with a budget of over 70 billion rand, and we cannot let him continue to run as the executive mayor with these allegations hanging over his head, and we want him to address them. If he does not address them, then it is up to us as an opposition party. This is not something new. It's something that's expected from an opposition party, to hold an existing government to account. And it is our role as ActionSA to say we will place a motion of no confidence if you fail to respond to these issues, if you fail to address these issues. We meet people on the ground, Thembegile, on a daily basis, people that ask us, our constituents, who ask us as councillors, as to what is it exactly that we are doing with a person who is alleged to have been involved in corruption, and why do we leave our city and this big budget of over 70 billion rand in the hands of such a person? And it is for that reason that we are urging the mayor to do one of two things: either address this issue and tell us nothing happened, or face removal.
How will you get to the removal bit is what I'm trying to understand, because a motion of no confidence, again, unless Gwamanda loses the support of his voting bloc that ultimately elected him as mayor, this will be fruitless, it'll be pointless.
Listen, when we place a motion of no confidence, there's discussions that go around in council. It is a council process to, especially now in the days of coalitions, with no party having been able to get 50% of the vote in Johannesburg. We obviously have to solicit the support of other political parties who also think that a mayor running a big city like the city of Johannesburg ought to be someone with a credible financial background and someone who doesn't have a questionable ethical background. We will speak to those parties, and if we do get their support, we will be able to pass a successful motion of no confidence on this mayor. We have placed motions before, and our motions are very effective, Thembegile. We place very effective motions. You would remember that in our previous motion, action was taken to remove the previous mayor because we had raised credible concerns about the previous mayor. So in this case, we'll do the same. We'll continue to speak to parties that think alike and parties that are not going to allow a situation where someone with a questionable background to run the city. And
that's good and well. The problem in Johannesburg is no sooner is a mayor removed for whatever reason, then a circus ensues where the two blocks, that's how I'll phrase it at the moment, that are trying to basically run council are unable or struggle to come up with something as easy as even a candidate to endorse before the vote. Basically a political circus. And that is what people in Johannesburg are sick of witnessing when the city is collapsing. Potholes everywhere, infrastructure in a poor state. What they want is for the politicians to get to work. So if Gwamanda left, what guarantee is there that the people of this city will not be subjected to another circus by the politicians they've put in that council?
Look, it's unfortunate that the council has not been able to place forward a credible candidate, someone who has a vision for the city. But as ActionSA, we do have credible people. We've got our caucus leader, we've got other council members in our caucus that are credible people with enough talent to be able to run this city. And as ActionSA, we've got a great vision for our city that we can lay out in the first few days if we are able to get the support of other political parties. But what I think is important here is that we cannot, by that reason, Thembegile, let someone who has questionable background to be able to run the city just because there hasn't been any agreement about which candidate will take forward the reins of the mayoralty. But it's important for us to hold him accountable and not just let and throw our hands in the air just because he doesn't have there hasn't been any agreement on the candidate. We will not, as ActionSA, sit back and not take action against someone with a questionable background. It's not just that, Thembegile. Mm-hmm. He has been in office, I think, for over 3 weeks now. And at the expense of sounding a bit repetitive, he is demonstrating the same concerns that we were concerned about in the previous era when Kabelo was in charge. He has been in office for 3 weeks now. Up until so far, we do not know what the mayor is up to. We have not had any vision. He has not communicated with our residents, and they ask us on the ground, what is it the mayor is doing in office, and they don't know what he's up to. And it is our responsibility as political parties in the opposition to hold him accountable and ensure that he actually speaks to our residents and lay out a clear vision. If he's unable to do that, ActionSA will place a motion of no confidence against him.
Sthembelo Majola, good to speak to you. ActionSA Johannesburg caucus spokesperson. Thank you for your time.